In the small Irish village of Ballinasloe Town, people still remember a man who pulled off a $3.6 million heist in broad daylight. What's even more astonishing is that he didn't have anything in his hands. He had neither a gun in his hand nor a mask on his face. After pulling off this act, he walked around openly. But the police couldn't even touch a hair on his head because he pulled off the entire heist in a completely legal way. This man's name was Barney Curley, a mysterious and cunning gambler. So cunning, in fact, that even the best players and bookies would stop gambling the moment they heard his name. Using his wits, he not only found the weaknesses in the system, but turned them into his weapons. This is the astonishing story from 1975 that the world now knows as the Yellow Sam betting coup.
Welcome once again to Tail Xylo Videos.
On June 26, 1975, in a small village called Ballinasloe Town, located 26 kilometers from Dublin, a horse race was taking place. There was quite a buzz at the race course. Preparations for the race were underway. People were placing bets on different horses, and the bookies were taking their positions. But Barney Curley was nowhere to seen. He was actually hiding inside the race course, concealed in the thorny bushes, waiting for the race to start. The reason he was hiding was because of the bookies present there. If they found out that Barney was there or that his horse was running in the race, they would immediately become alert. They might even stop taking bets altogether. At that time, Barney's name was notorious in the gambling industry. In any race that Barney participated in, or even if he was just spotted on the ground, the bookies would immediately suspect that something fishy was going on. But the move he was about to pull off that day was the biggest and most dangerous of his life. Barney Curley was the kind of person who hadn't even spared his own father. His father, Charlie Curley, used to train greyhound dogs and would gamble by racing them. At the last moment before a race, he would give his slowest dog drugs to make it run faster and would bet all his money on that dog. In this way, he would trick the bookies and make a good amount of money. Barney knew all about his father's tricks. One day, when he was a 15-year-old boy, Charlie told him to feed the dog some meat laced with medicine. But Barney deliberately didn't give the meat to the dog. The next day, that dog lost the race. Charlie suffered a decent loss. But there was one person who was very happy about it: Barney. Barney had secretly fed the medicated meat to another dog and bet on that one instead. By cheating his own father, Barney made 12 pounds for the first time, which would be about $500 today. So, if someone started his gambling career by cheating his own father, you can imagine what he would do to the rest of the world, and you'll find out soon enough. In betting, there's the gambler who places money on horses, and if his horse wins, he gets double, triple, or whatever the odds are. The odds are set by the bookie, who decides how much money you'll win for each horse. If a horse is slow, its chances of winning are low, so its odds are the highest, 1 to 20, meaning bet 1 rupee and win 20 if it wins. Similarly, the horse with the best chances of winning has the lowest odds, because everyone is betting on it. So, the person who makes the most money is the one who bets on the slowest horse, and that horse actually wins, 20 times the profit. Charlie spent his whole life making his slow greyhounds fast with medicine and making his fast dogs slow. That's how he tricked the bookies. And since betting wasn't legal at the time, there weren't many rules either. In 1956, something happened that left Charlie drowning in debt. As usual, he gave his slow dog drugs and bet all his money on it. But fate had other plans. Because of a bad reaction to the medicine, not only did the dog lose, but it also fell and broke its spine. At that time, Barney was 16 years old, and he took his father's loss to heart. This one defeat pushed the whole family into a swamp of debt. Barney had to drop out of school and work in a factory so he could help his father pay off the debts. For the next 18 months, both of them worked day and night, and everything they earned went straight to paying back the bookies. This was the time when Barney saw the dangerous and dark side of gambling up close. After that, Barney tried his hand at many different things in life, but everywhere he went, he only faced losses. He opened a betting shop once, then a pub. He even tried his luck in music management, but that didn't work out either. He even got into smuggling. He started smuggling Gillette blades across the border. But one day, a war broke out at the border. Gunfire broke out at the border, and the sound of bullets terrified Barney. His heart was always stuck on horse racing and gambling. In the end, he decided to step into the professional world of gambling. Even though he had to deceive his own father, this was where he made his first earnings. Up until 1975, he made a killing in the world of gambling. Sometimes his tricks worked, and other times he was drowning in debt. Things got to the point where bookies would get nervous just hearing Barney's name. They wouldn't let him play the game, or if there was a horse with the highest odds, they'd immediately drop the odds. This time, Barney was buried under 12,000 pounds of debt, and there was only one way for him to get out of this mess. That's when a wild idea popped into his head. Barney reached out to an old friend and asked him for a horse with a really bad record. The horse was named Yellow Sam, which used to be Barney's father's nickname. This horse had an exceptionally bad record. In its last 9 races, it finished in a position even worse than 8th. Barney came up with a very clever strategy. He deliberately raced the horse on tracks and in races that didn't suit its temperament at all. This caused Yellow Sam's official rating to drop even further, to the point where he became eligible for handicap racing. But in reality, the truth was that Yellow Sam was a fast runner on hard ground. Barney had Yellow Sam entered under a handicap so that when the real race came, he could run fast. He chose a national race that was to be held at Balliostown Racecourse on June 26, 1975. This was a handicapped race, the Mount Hanover Handicap Hurdle. But everything he had done so far was just one part of his plan. There was also a special reason for choosing the Balliostown track. There was only one phone booth there for communication. Back in those days, whenever there was a race, people all over the country would start placing bets on their favorite horses at betting shops hours before the event. The betting shop owners stayed connected with the bookies. If a lot of money was placed on a particular horse, the shop owners would inform the bookies, and they would lower that horse's odds. But the rule was that once the race started, the odds would be locked. Barney thought that if he could somehow block the only phone line at Balliostown Racecourse at the last moment, the bookies there would lose contact with the betting shop owners, and Yellow Sam's odds would stay at 1-20 until the very end. But he had to do this in such a way that no one would suspect anything. If the bookies even got a hint, they'd drop the odds on all the horses. The success of this plan would only be possible if Barney's trusted friends supported him. He selected 300 people from all over Ireland who would go and place bets on Yellow Sam at the last moment. For this, Barney gave each of them a cash envelope ranging from 50 to 300 pounds. Barney had collected 15,000 pounds for this planning, which was his entire life savings at the time. If this plan failed, not only would he be ruined, but under the weight of debt, he could even end up in jail. Now came the day of the race. Gambling had already started at the betting shops hours before. As expected, Yellow Sam had the highest odds because his official rating was quite weak. 25 minutes before the race started, a man named Benny arrived at the public phone booth at Balliostown Racecourse. He was a trusted friend of Barney's, and it was his job to take control of the public phone booth. He picked up the phone and deliberately started crying his eyes out. For a while, the people waiting in line tolerated it, but he said that his aunt was sick and on her deathbed. He insisted that it was very important for him to talk to her. Many people sympathized with his grief, but the bookies standing in the same line were really bothered by it. Barney had given him some instructions. If anyone tried to forcibly take the phone from him, he should even break the phone in anger if he had to, but under no circumstances should he let anyone else use the phone from there. For 25 minutes, Benny kept talking to his sick aunt and kept crying. As soon as the race started, Benny hung up the receiver, walked out crying, and immediately disappeared somewhere. Meanwhile, Barney's people, who were spread all over the country, placed their bets on Yellow Sam. Yellow Sam's odds stayed at 1-20, and as soon as the race started, they were locked in. The betting managers immediately tried to call the track so they could lower the odds, but every time they tried, the phone was busy. The bookies at the track had no idea what kind of storm was brewing outside. At that time, Barney himself was at the racecourse, but to avoid being seen by the bookies, he was hiding in the bushes and watching the race through binoculars. When the race started, Yellow Sam showed incredible speed along with his jockey. Even a favorite horse like Silver Road looked like a failure in front of him. Yellow Sam cleared all 13 hurdles with ease and won the race by 2.5 lengths. When the race ended and the bookies realized what had happened to him, there was quite an uproar. They found Benny, who had taken over the phone booth, but he said that a miracle had happened. His aunt was now better, and he even refused to recognize Barney. Now it was the bookies' turn to pay Barney his money. Barney's total investment in this game was £15,000, which he was supposed to get 20 times over. That is £300,000, which in today's terms is about $3.5 million. The bookies, in anger, paid him this money in £1 notes, which totaled 108 sacks. This became headlines all over Ireland and the UK. Barney Curley became a legend overnight. The most important thing was that he hadn't broken any laws. He simply took advantage of the system's weakness and turned it into his weapon. After this incident, the bookies changed their rules and made it mandatory to have at least a 30-minute time frame for large bets. After 1975, Barney Curley made several small and big gambles, but the ones in 2010 and 2014 proved that even at the age of 70, his mind was just as sharp. Barney Curley passed away on May 23, 2021, at the age of 81 after battling cancer. Upon his death, the world of horse racing paid tribute to him as a genius and the Robin Hood of racing, because he was someone who not only knew how to beat the system, but also had the courage to spend that money on the poor.
I hope you enjoyed Tell Xylo videos and support them wholeheartedly by liking and sharing. Thank you so much for your love and wonderful comments. See you in the next amazing video.